maybe you've finally gotten the budget approved to hire your first developer, or maybe you're at a small company and you're just finally making enough money to justify bringing on another developer to help you out. This sounds great. This sounds fantastic, right? What could go wrong? Well, there might just be one problem. What if it's your first time hiring? How exactly do you hire? How do you get from, okay, I've got the money, or I feel like I have the money to hire, to actually getting that process started and hopefully bringing in that first hire for your team or for your company? So Ben, putting you on the spot here, if someone's in this position, is there one particular thing that you would suggest they do just to even try to get started?
So the one thing you're going to have to do is a lot of research, and hopefully you're already doing your research, and that's how you found Dave and I talking about this. So
This is a great
check
place to
that
start.
box. You're done.
Yes.
So Dave, what was the second question? Just kidding. So you're going to have to research other job descriptions and job posts. Get ready to read dozens of other companies' job posts to find what kind of description are they including on this position. How do they describe what they're looking for? What are their requirements? How do they describe hard requirements, nice to have requirements, soft requirements? What kind of experience are they looking for? How do they talk about the expectations for the position? And that's all intended to get you into a frame of mind where you can write your own description. You can figure out, how am I going to communicate what I'm looking for? And it will help you establish what you're looking for. You often will start and you're not sure. Do you want someone more senior? Do you want someone more junior? What is really necessary to be successful in this role? So get ready to read. Read companies that are doing it well, and try to emulate that as much as you can. The next bit of research is the salary range. Once you have an idea of who you need to hire, what the requirements are like, you should be able to determine what kind of salary range can I afford here. And so that research is going to go hand in hand. You can't just decide on a whim how much you're paying
Right.
someone. They're going to be connected. But doing your market research on what do I actually have to offer for this position is part of that same search. So read. You're going to spend a lot of time seeing what other people are doing before you jump in yourself.
Yeah, and that goes right along with trying to, when you're doing that salary research, things like, okay, this is what and don't get scared off when you see it's like, oh wow, Meta is hiring developers and the total
So maybe
comp looks like.
don't emulate Meta.
But so all to say that, take a look at, like, okay, if you're going to have, and this is a whole separate conversation, but if you're going to have people be hybrid or in person, try to find comparable positions in your general geographic area, right? There's going to be big differences between trying to hire in the Bay Area or maybe even New York versus, we'll just say someplace else in the US, or maybe someplace, if you're not in the US, someplace outside of the US, you're going to have very different salary sort of requirements. So definitely pay attention to that is one thing I would say. And then to go along, to piggyback off of what you were saying before, Ben, just about like doing your research and reading job descriptions, part of what it might have to come along with that is to then maybe reset expectations internally, whether that's just for you and your small team, or if you're a bigger company, across the whole company, where it can be really tempting and really easy to, you get excited. This is the big hire, and this is going to solve all of our problems, and it's going to, it's going to do this, and this, and this. And next thing you know, you can sometimes get so excited, you've described a position that's like 4 positions or 2 positions or whatever. And so making sure that you and your team, or even your whole organization, has an understanding of, okay, here's what's out there. Here's what we feel like we reasonably can have. Because what you don't want to do is write this job description that I'm sure everything in this job description, you think you need all of them, but then you go out there and you're just getting nothing. Right. Whether the salary is a mismatch or the expectations are just a lot for one person, and you're trying to find a very particular, like, you don't want to have that, because you're going to get burned out, and then you're going to have unsuccessful searches. And that's nobody wants that, right? That's what we're all trying to, hopefully that's why you're here watching this video, trying to avoid that.
I like to think in terms of personas. Like, if I had someone with this particular set of experiences, this is what they could do for us. This would be their capabilities. This would be approximate salary range. And then compare them with a second persona. If we find someone who fits more of this mode, or maybe do we need this mode, then you can establish different expectations on your team for, if we hire this person, this is the kind of person they're going to be on our team. So that will help you set your salary expectations for
Yeah.
yourself and your team, and then help you write the correct job description.
I got one more thing I want to throw in here. So if you've done the research, if you've communicated what you found to your team and the rest of your company, you're at this good place, maybe you're ready to go. Before you even get started, try to write out what you think the process might look like, because you're going to surprise yourself. Because if you've never done it before, you get excited, maybe you've gotten that job description to be exactly what you hope it is, and you post it and you start hearing from people and you're like, oh no, what do I do now? Do I do 30-minute calls, 60-minute calls? How many people? Like, think ahead before you even post that job. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but it could be bullets, it could be notes, it could be you on a whiteboard, it could be whatever you need to do, but just try to write out, okay, we want to interview certain people, and here's our time frame, and have an understanding of all of these things. Just even trying to think it through, even if you don't get it perfect, try to think it through. You're going to come out so much further ahead than if you just tried to wing it.
Right. Give yourself a schedule. I'm going to have 2 weeks to review.
Schedule is good.
Review
try to work
candidates.
backwards.
Then I'm going to do
backwards, yeah.
30-minute intro calls. Then I'm going to do, and you can start to think about how many people do I want at each stage of this process, and work it through. Figure out how many interviews you'd like to do. What should the quality of each interview be? If it's more of a soft skills interview or if it's a technical interview, you can lay that out tentatively. Because I'll tell you one thing you're going to find. You're going to get in this, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to learn a lot. You'll have 3 or 4 intro calls, and then you'll realize, oh, I really need to be asking that of everyone. Like, that just happened, and now I need to change what I'm doing. So just give yourself the freedom to figure it out as you go. So give yourself a tentative process, and then just keep iterating on it as you go through it, and you'll get better and better.
And if you're looking for inspiration about what your process might look like, we have wonderful resources on this incredible website called larajobs.com, which you may or may not be visiting right now, or you might be finding us on YouTube or somewhere else. But there's a whole page on larajobs.com that is going to outline, here's an idea of what a good process might look like. So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, great, let me think about this process. I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't worry. There are resources, whether on our site or elsewhere. There are definitely resources, but I would just encourage you to think about what you might want and try to get that worked out a little bit ahead of time.